Support for this podcast comes from St. Alphonsus Orthopedic and Sports Medicine Clinics, with physicians, physical therapists, and trainers who treat sports and performance-related injuries, with locations across the valley. More information on services and locations at stalphonsus.org/stay active.
Public media is under immediate threat. I'm General Manager Tom Michael from Boise State Public Radio. In the coming days, the U.S. Senate is expected to vote on a rescission request from the White House, which wants to claw back funds that were already approved by Congress. This station is one of hundreds across the country that would lose out. You can let your U.S. Senator know directly that you value funding for public radio. Or visit protectmypublicmedia.org.
Good morning. This is The Connector for Monday, July 14th. I'm Troy Oppie. As immigration raids continue across the country, the Blaine County Sheriff says the feds can do it without his deputies' help. An emergency drought declaration requested in Blaine County. Plus, the family of a man accused of 4 murders last week in south central Idaho suffers from mental illness, according to his family. And we're watching growing wildfires in the state of Idaho with a fire weather watch in effect for south central Idaho today. We'll tell you about that and lots more on the Connector Idaho Daily News from Boise State Public Radio. We start with an update to an Amber Alert many of us received on our phones on Sunday. A 12-year-old girl who disappeared over the weekend from her Idaho Falls home has been found safely in Colorado. An Amber Alert was issued yesterday for the girl. She was said to be with an 18-year-old male and a second adult male. Idaho Falls police on social media announced just before 7 p.m. last night the girl had been found and the 2 men were in custody. Police said additional details would be released at a later time. The man accused of killing 4 people in Cassia and Minidoka counties suffers from schizophrenia. That's according to his family's statements on social media. East Idaho News reports family members of 56-year-old Benjamin Naylor posted publicly over the weekend apologizing to the victim's family, saying their father lost a battle with mental illness that has plagued him and the family. Quote, "We believe that once he has received proper psychiatric care, he is going to realize the devastation he's caused, and he is going to have to live with this the rest of his life," unquote. Police say they connected Naylor to the killings through security camera footage, a murder last week in Rupert, a double murder the same day elsewhere in Cassia County, and the death of a person found in a vehicle in Minidoka County who may have been killed several days before being discovered. Victims have not yet officially been identified. Naylor is being held without bail. His separate arraignments in each county are set for later this week and next week. More than 1,200 people a day from communities across the United States are being swept up in raids by Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, and in some cases assisted by local law enforcement. As our George Prentice reports, the Blaine County Sheriff says he's opposed to joining any program that would have deputies enforcing immigration actions.
Sheriff Morgan Ballas said at a Ketchum City Council meeting last week that if a suspect is already being held at the Blaine County Jail for a crime, they will honor an ICE detainer, a request to hold the suspect for an additional 48 hours.
That is the safest way for ICE to operate in our community. They're able to come directly to the sheriff's office without having to go into public spaces in order to make those arrests.
But Ballas says Blaine County will not enter into a 287G agreement with feds, which would have local officers enforcing immigration action.
And the reason for that is it's on the Blaine County taxpayers' dime to do that. We will not do the federal government's job. They should be held responsible to do their job.
Ketchum City Council member Amanda Breen said she supports more of a hands-off relationship with ICE.
So the lightest touch that our sheriff can have while keeping our community safe is the approach that I support.
The sheriff recently participated in immigration policy town halls, one sponsored by Blaine County Democrats, the other by Blaine County Republicans. George Prentice, Boise State Public Radio News.
Idaho Governor Brad Little announced the state budget ended the fiscal year in June with a balanced budget and $345 million in the black. A news release from the governor Friday indicated paycheck withholding income to the state rose about 6% from the previous fiscal year. Sales tax income was up, too. The $345 million on the bottom line, though, is less than the $400 million lawmakers say they'd planned to leave in the budget. And the Idaho Capital Sun previously reported that State Division of Financial Management head Lori Wolf last month issued a memo warning state agencies that budget increases next fiscal year were unlikely, and some agencies, including the Department of Education, might face budget cuts. While income lines like sales tax receipts did grow the last fiscal year, that growth is slower than predicted. And when combined with tax cuts passed by lawmakers, revenues to the state general fund in the coming years are shaping up to be less than previously forecast. For the first time in 5 years, Blaine County wants state officials to declare a drought emergency. The Mountain Express reports Blaine County commissioners sent a letter to state water managers July 3rd requesting the declaration, which as of last Friday had not been issued by the governor's office. The letter notes below-average flows in the Bigwood and Littlewood rivers and a new prediction that the Magic Reservoir will only be able to deliver water through August 23rd. That's based on an analysis done June 10th. Declaring a water emergency, which has happened 8 times in Blaine County the last 20 years, allows officials to temporarily change water rights deliveries to help in times of drought. Idaho has experienced a very dry spring that's led to persistent drought conditions, even in places forecasters had predicted might be out of the drought cycle this year. A drought emergency has already been declared this year in Custer and Butte counties. And if you missed it on Friday morning, the Idaho Department of Water Resources says they're predicting a 75,000 acre-foot shortfall on the Snake River system this year. That'll affect the Twin Falls Canal Company. State water managers, though, say users who entered into last year's mitigation agreement will not be curtailed, even with the shortage. Some groundwater users who are not part of an agreement, though, may face shutoffs. That shortage is somewhat normal for an average to slightly below average water year, officials say. The methodology to determine expected water use changed in 2023. On the fire watch, the Coyote Fire south of Jordan Valley on the border between Idaho and Oregon sparked yesterday morning and quickly grew to 835 acres. It is now 60% contained, according to the National Interagency Fire Center. 2 lightning-caused fires in the Frank Church Wilderness continue to burn. The Rush Fire in the northeast corner of Valley County, nearly 400 acres now. Smoke jumpers are on site and working with U of I personnel to protect structures. To the north along the Salmon River, the Big Bear Fire is nearly 600 acres. It's threatening the Arctic Creek and River of No Return lodges. Payette National Forest says crews are taking protective measures around those and other structures in the area. A fire weather watch in south central Idaho today between Elmore and Power counties, south of the Camas Prairie. Some gusty winds and low relative humidities are expected. Twin Falls will be in the upper 90s today, low triple digits in Boise, around 104 in the lower Treasure Valley this afternoon. That's your connector on this Monday morning. Thanks for listening and subscribing and liking this podcast. It helps other people find it as well. I'm Troy Oppie. I'll be back with you again on Tuesday morning. The Connector is a production of Boise State Public Radio News. Our news director is Sasha Woodruff. Our digital strategy manager is Lacey Daly. Our general manager is Tom Michael.
These days, there's so much news, it can be hard to keep up with what it all means for you, your family, and your community. The Consider This podcast from NPR features our award-winning journalism. 6 days a week, we bring you a deep dive on a news story and provide the context and analysis that helps you make sense of the news. We get behind the headlines. We get to the truth. Listen to the Consider This podcast from NPR.